Alright guys, it's Spencer here again, coming at you with another PHP tutorial. It's been a couple days and I've had a lot of things I had to do first, but anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Now this time around, what we're going to go ahead and do is cover the try catch finally exception statement here. This is what you usually use to kind of create more fluidity and control over your code. Because how it works is you would generally create what would happen in the event that some part of your code would not function for whatever reason. And you would create this to kind of, you could even make your own exceptions and everything. Which I'm going to go ahead and show you today. Now you see in front of you is all the function I had put together to try and show an example of this. Now here you'll see the initialization of the variable we're going to use. And this is what we're going to use. Now we're making a function twee, TWIE, and by default we're going to set this to undefined. This will be how you create optional parameters, just for fluidity and more control and everything, because you can actually assign an argument to let me scratch that. You can assign a value to a variable by default in the argument or parameters, depending on how you look at it. And we're setting this as undefined because we would initialize the variable up here, but it wouldn't be defined. So we're setting it to undefined by default. So as you can see here, we have our if statement. So this only means if you see an exclamation point, that pretty much negates the variable. So this means if you negate it, this only means here, like if the variable doesn't exist or doesn't have an initial values assigned and everything. Now if you set it to Boolean and everything, in the event that you initially set the variable to true, this exclamation point would make it false. Or in case of an integers or string or anything, so meaning if it doesn't have a value. So the exclamation point negates it for the other data types if it's not assigned a value, or in case of Boolean, if it's the opposite of true, which is false. That's pretty much what that means there. So that's kind of the short way of saying if we ignore the exclamation point as for Boolean, and if the variable x is equal to false, which in this case, if we left it like this, it would say if then exclamation point would negate that. So if x is not equal to false is what that exclamation point is saying. So the exclamation point is more of a not thing and negates it, kind of does the exact opposite. So I hope that's been a little bit clear enough. If not, we're going to cover more lessons, so you'll get it. Or if the and this sign means or. This is the operator. This is a comparison operator, which means or. The two straight lines there means or. So if this says if x does not have a variable or x is equal to undefined, we're going to echo out variable not defined up here. And then we have our else statement up here, which you know that I watched the last video about our if else statement. Now we have our, now we're going to try our echo here. It says x, the variable x is a variable that has been defined. And this is an escape character that you would use within a string. So it would make a new line, supposed to make a new line. And then you would have the catch statement, which in turn you would put the exception here. Or if you made your own exception, which is how you would do it. This is how you would do it. And that's how you would create your own customized exception and everything in PHP. So that's how you would do it. And then you would just put the new my exception in this box here. But we're just going to go with the default exception. And that's going to be assigned the variable of e. And then it's going to echo out part and then it's going to display the message and the exception. And then you'll see here the finally block. That'll happen after everything. So rather everything is executed in the try block or the exception is caught, finally would still go on, basically. So finally still going to happen one way or another. So you might as well accept it and just take it. Now in this one we're going to echo, this is how try catch finally exception code works. So that's what we're going to output. And now you see down here we have the function down here, TWIE, and we're just going to leave that undefined. And undefined means it doesn't have any arguments or parameters. In case you forgot, arguments is the value that would be passed as a parameter in the parameter box. So any variables or anything that goes in between the parentheses there is technically called an argument. And this is how you would and you went over functions and parentheses and everything. So let's go ahead and view in the browser, see how that works. Wait for it to come up, wait for it. There, see? And it says it's not defined at all. There you go. So what happens if we, okay, let's take that out. What happens if we put okay, so I'm going to pass the parameter as my name, Spencer-Williams. Go ahead and bring that up. See? Definitely had a different outline. See, Spencer-Williams is a variable that's passed, is a variable that has been defined. And the finally part, this is how try catch finally exception code works. So you see all that. And this is where the finally part of the code starts. This is the finally part of the code that starts. So that's going to run. So finally is going to run either way. So the only reason it didn't run like when this is defined is because we have it as an if statement and we don't define it as the finally and everything. So if something, so the if condition, if the if condition is met, then that's what's going to happen under the if part. Else it's not going to happen unless if doesn't happen. So this doesn't happen. So if this doesn't happen at all, that doesn't happen right there at all, else would be carried out. And then we have try, catch. Oh, sorry. Let's close that out. And we're going to close that out because we have our switch statement there. So else would be carried out, and the try, catch, and finally block is carried out. And this is pretty much what we have going here. So there's definitely plenty of research on it. I'll put the link in the description box on the bottom. It'll be on there if you're watching from YouTube or my website. But we have that going. I'm going to link it to the php.net